If you are suffering from hair loss or you just want better, thicker and shinier hair, then focusing on your nutrition might just be the way to get there. Not only are these foods going to be easily available, but they're also backed by current science. In this video, I'm going to be covering exactly what these foods are and what you should and shouldn't eat to keep your hair looking as healthy as possible. So without further ado, let's get into the first one. So I see lots of people on social media promoting hair supplements, and if you've ever been into Holland and Barrett, you'll notice that they sell quite a lot of them there as well. But are they actually any good for your hair? So the main ingredient in these supplements, time and time again, tends to be biotin, which is another name for vitamin B7. And biotin got its name in the health, wellness and beauty industry because it helps to build keratin, which is the protein that kind of stacks on top of each other to make your hair strands. Now this, combined with the fact that people deficient in biotin tend to have dry skin, brittle nails and thinning of the hair, made people think, wow, biotin must be amazing for your hair, and therefore let's make a supplement and make loads of money off it. But the problem is with this though, unless you're actually acutely deficient in biotin, the studies show that it has actually no effect on your hair. And as well, it's actually quite hard to be deficient in biotin. So in most Western diets, people tend to get enough. So in meat, eggs, fish, certain vegetables, and even your gut microbiome can create biotin as well. So the likelihood of you being deficient in it is pretty small. And therefore the likelihood of you finding any benefit to your hair taking supplements or focusing on biotin is pretty small as well. So don't waste your money and don't waste your time. So the next thing I want to cover is folate, vitamin B12 and iron. Now all of these three things are really important in the manufacture of red blood cells, and this is the reason why you can quite quickly become anemic if you're deficient in iron. Now red blood cells are really important for carrying oxygen around the body, and one of the places that they take this to is the scalp. And as a general rule of thumb, the better the blood supply to the scalp, the more nutrients, oxygen and nourishment the hair follicle can get, and so the more likely it is to grow. So this is a similar premise to one of the reasons why those scalp massaging brushes kind of work. So it basically makes a little bit of inflammation which increases the blood supply to your scalp, and by that logic it should help your hair grow. So hair growth is split up into growth, which is called the anagen phase, regression, which is called the catagen phase, and rest, which is the telogen phase. Now, iron deficiency in particular can increase the length of the telogen phase, which means that your hair essentially stays dormant for longer and spends less time in the growing phase. And if you have more hairs in this phase, it can cause your hair to stop growing and end up looking thin over time. With all of this in mind, iron deficiency is fairly common in the UK. So if you care about your hair, it's definitely worth having a little look at your diet and seeing if you could be deficient in iron. And I'll include a list of dietary sources of iron so you can screenshot it if you'd like. And just as a quick side note, dietary iron isn't the only cause of anemia. So if you end up doing any research and end up worried that you might be anemic, then don't just look at your diet, go and see your doctor as well so they can exclude other causes. So next on the list is going to be omega-3, and it gets its place in hair care for two main reasons. So the first one being is that it reduces inflammation. So this is going to really help with your overall scalp health and also the help of your hair follicles. So this is going to promote growth and help prevent thinning of the hair. And the second reason is that it can help produce oils which can moisturise the actual shaft of your hair. Now this prevents breakage, but as well as that, it can also give you that shiny kind of healthy hair sort of look. And having shiny hair is also great because it means it's less brittle and so less likely to snap. Omega-3 can be split up into three categories, so EPA, DHA and ALA. So the first two, so EPA and DHA, can be found in seafood and fish. With the other one, so ALA is mainly found in kind of veggie sources, so algae, vegetable oils, chia seeds, stuff like that. And not getting enough omega-3 in your diet is actually quite common, so I definitely recommend having a little look at the types of foods that you're eating and trying to increase it if you can. So the next one I want to talk about is vitamin A, and you might have heard of vitamin A from skincare, so from retinol, retinoid products, or even in the treatment of acne. So isotretinoin is a derivative of vitamin A, which is more commonly known as Roaccutane, which is quite a common drug for people who are experiencing severe acne. Now, before I start talking about vitamin A, I think it's quite important to note that if you're pregnant, you should generally be avoiding vitamin A supplements anyways, unless you've been specifically told to do so, obviously. Now, among other things, vitamin A helps with the production of oil in the skin, which in theory will help to nourish your hair, but it is not the reason why I'm talking about it in this video. So vitamin A is quite easy to get from our diet, and it's also quite easy to overdo with supplements. So in theory, yes, it should help to keep your hair shiny, but high levels of vitamin A can be dangerous and can also actually make your hair fall out. So one study in particular looked at people being treated with vitamin A and found a decrease in hair count and density. And it was significant enough to conclude that high levels of vitamin A might cause hair loss. And just quickly, if you are taking vitamin A from your doctor, or if you're applying it like as a cream, so as a retinol, this isn't really what I'm talking about. So I'm talking about over supplementing, so don't stress too much if this is you. So vitamin C is good for hair growth for two reasons. So the first one being is that it is an antioxidant. Now I say antioxidant quite loosely because some of the research and how it behaves in the body is not the strongest. So an antioxidant in theory is supposed to kind of mop up something called free radicals. What some of the problems kind of seems to be though is that this was mainly tested in lab settings. And whether this translates to humans or not, I am not too sure, to be honest, based off what I've kind of read.
I might change my mind on that in future, but just from where I currently am, yeah, I'm not too sure.
That being said though, it does seem that having enough vitamin C, or at least not being deficient in it, is pretty good for hair growth. So vitamin C is essential in the manufacture of collagen. Now collagen is a protein that can build up to make keratin, which like I was saying before, can really help your hair strands. So I'll include a little list of foods high in vitamin C if you want to screenshot it. But examples include bell peppers, citrus fruits, tomatoes, and loads of other foods. In addition to this, vitamin C helps with the absorption of non-heme iron. So iron is split up into heme iron, which is produced by animals basically, and non-heme iron, which are plant sources of iron. So if you're vegetarian or vegan, you're at a greater risk of iron deficiency anyways. So it's a good idea to increase your vitamin C because it increases that absorption of the non-heme iron. And like I've already mentioned, iron deficiency is pretty common, so if you can help it out by eating enough vitamin C, then that is great. Similarly, dietary protein is also really essential for building hair strands. And there's a few amino acids found in protein which are particularly important for hair care. So cysteine and methionine are important for keratin production, and lysine is important in collagen production. And if you get both of these right, it's a bit like having good quality Lego bricks to build a tower, as opposed to horrible broken ones. So it's going to be much stronger and it's going to look much, much better. And good sources of protein include eggs, meat, milk, dairy, tofu, tempeh, lentils, beans, nuts, kind of micro protein like corn. All of these things are pretty good. So the next one is a quick one, and that is going to be caffeine. So there was a time when people thought that drinking coffee or increasing caffeine could be good to stimulate hair growth. But the evidence of this is pretty weak, to be honest. What there is evidence for though is that if you apply topical caffeine to your scalp, then this might help with hair growth. So there was a small clinical trial done, and caffeine applied topically to the scalp was compared against minoxidil, which if you don't know what minoxidil is, it is a medical treatment for hair loss. Now in this study, yes, it was kind of a small study, but the topical caffeine had the same effect as minoxidil, which is pretty mental because topical caffeine would of course come with less side effects than minoxidil, and minoxidil is known to be pretty effective at restoring hair growth. So yes, it's quite early days in research with topical caffeine, but I mean, it would probably do no harm, so if you're struggling with hair growth, I would definitely consider it as an option. And when I say topical caffeine, I don't mean kind of rubbing coffee on your head or anything like that. I mean buying quality products that contain caffeine. If you are enjoying the video so far, I am a nutrition coach and I have an email list, so if you want to subscribe to that, it'll be in the bio, and that is basically where I send new nutrition tips, any research that I find that's interesting and relevant to your life, and people have found it quite helpful in the past and helpful for motivation. So if you want to sign up, the link will be in the bio of this video. So the next one I want to talk about isn't specifically a food, but it's really, really important when you're looking at lifestyle and how lifestyle can affect your hair. So cortisol is basically the hormone in our body which rises in response to stress. So that can be as in physical, emotional stress, you're feeling stressed at work, or even inflammation in the body. So say you run down with a cold, you would have more cortisol. Now, in a nutshell, if your cortisol levels go up, your body kind of decides that it needs its energy for other things. So rather than growing your hair, which is not important, it sends energy to your vital organs, so like your heart and your lungs and stuff like that. Now, because of that, that means that the telogen phase, so the resting phase of hair growth, extends by quite a lot, which means that your hair spends more time resting and not as much time growing, so you end up with thinning of the hair and breakage. And this is just something to keep an eye on, because if you're constantly stressed or if you're constantly under the weather, then this might be having an impact on your hair. So I know it's much easier said than done to reduce stress, and if you've got an infection, there's not really much you can do about that, but kind of making sure that you're getting enough nutrients in so you're ill for as little as possible is great. And as well as that, one thing that you definitely can do is make sure that you get as much sleep as you possibly can. So sleep is really important in cortisol and just really important to make sure that you're not stressed during the day. So get some more sleep and I promise you your hair will probably thank you for it. So that is all I've got time for with this video, but there's so much more I can cover with nutrition and hair care. So if you did enjoy it, then please don't forget to give it a like, and I will definitely do part 2. Also, please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.